Hey funky people, welcome back to another weird episode of Mac Music Review. In this episode, it's time to talk about the best songs of 2015. 2015 had some really good music. It was the year that To Pimp a Butterfly was released, Jamie XX did the In Color album, Tame Impala did Currents, 21 Pilots, Blurry Face, 21 Pilots exploded in 2015. Sufjan Stevens came back from the dead to release a really beautiful album. I'm really tired right now. Anyway, without any honorable mentions, I'm just going to hop into what I think are the 10 best songs, the 20 best songs of 2015. Without further ado, let's hop into it. At number 20, the first song on this top 20, I'm going to have to talk about the song Ride by 21 Pilots. Ride was one of the biggest songs of this year. It was super popular, played on the radio. 21 Pilots got popular this year with this album, Blurry Face. And this was like a single for the album. And you know what? For whatever reason, I really like this song and Stressed Out. But for whatever reason, this one rises above Stressed Out for me. And it's one of my favorite 21 Pilots songs. I just recently did a top 10 21 Pilots songs, so I'll link that in the description. And this song is on there. And it's a really cool song. It's just very listenable. It's very, fun, I guess. But also it has a slightly darker sound. I don't know. It's a really good song. Yeah, my number 19 is Lift Me Up by Vince Staples. Yet another song that is very dark and gloomy and foreboding, but also very listenable. I mean, that's what Vince Staples really does. He makes party music for the end of the world, dark party jams. And Summertime '06 is a really cool album, really dark album, really cool production, and all that can be said about this single, about this song. I don't know if it was a single. It's the first official song on the album that isn't like an interlude or whatever. And it's a cool song. Check it out. My number 18 is Be Brave by Modest Mouse. Not to be confused with Be Brave by Owl City, which is actually a pretty good song. I think that's the best song on Cinematic, but I'm just talking about Owl City just because today we're supposed to be talking about Modest Mouse. Be Brave, it's a song with a ferocious sense of energy and conviction in the vocals. It is from one of the most underrated albums ever made, Strangers to Ourselves. People don't like this album. I love this album. I love this song. Check it out. My number 17, I have I Love You Honey Bear by Father John Misty. It's weird to me that this song is so low on this list. The ordering for these songs probably could be a little bit better because this is like a ranked list. But I Love You Honey Bear. It's a beautiful anthemic title track. It's a love song that has a lot of sarcastic wit but also a lot of conviction and heart. It's, equal parts kind of satirical and not really satirical. I don't even know. Just listen to this song. You won't regret it. My number 16 is Let It Happen by Tame Impala. After seeing Tame Impala perform this song live, you really can't deny that it is an epic opening track. It's 7 minutes long, several phases. It's, it's moving, it's here, it's there, it's crazy, it's epic, it's loud, it's mind-boggling. It's such a cool song. You better listen to it. It's a good one. My number 15 is Butterfly by Grimes. Once again, I surprised myself by Butterfly by Grimes being so low on this list. A while back, a long time ago, I did a top 10 must-hear songs of the decade. I'll link that in the description. It's been a while since I don't even remember all the songs I talked about on there, but I did talk about Butterfly by Grimes because when I made that video, it was one of my favorite songs. I could not stop listening to it. Now, not so much. I still think it is probably the best song off of Art Angels. It's the last song on the album. It is an anthemic anime banger, basically, with a few different layers, and the song just gets better and better as it goes along. It's a ton of fun. Just my go-to pop song recommendation. Check it out. My number 14 is the song Pale Horse by Me Without You. Pale Horse is, in my opinion, and once again, I don't know why it's so low on this list, is in my opinion one of the greatest opening tracks of all time. I did a video a while back, best opening tracks of all time. There's like 5 songs, and this might be on there. If it's not, then it should be. I might do a sequel to that video because there's a lot of songs I didn't have the time to mention. But Pale Horse, it introduces the world of the album that is Pale Horses, and it's dark, and it's gloomy, and it's a vibe creator, it's a vibe setter, and that's what it serves as. It's a pretty short track, the shortest on the album, or no, not one of the shortest on the album, but it serves its purpose, and it serves it very well. Unlucky number 13 falls on Sufjan Stevens for his song The Only Thing from Carrie and Lowell. Guys, this song hits. I mean, dang. Like, it's a dark song, but it's a very hopeful song. It's a very, very beautiful song. Like, 2015 had some good music. My number 12 is Sleep Sound by Jamie XX. Let's Go Sleep Sound. Probably my favorite song off of this Jamie XX album. I know There's Gonna Be is also just a great track with Young Thug, but I'm not a huge Young Thug fan, honestly. And even though his feature on the song is pretty good, his lyrics on that song hold it back for me. If his lyrics were a little bit better, in my opinion, then I could include that on this list. But instead, I have Sleep Sound right here. It's a really cool song. Doesn't sound like anything else I've ever heard exactly. And that's pretty much the highest compliment I can give it. My number 11, right outside of the top 10, is Sun in the Sky by Destroyer. Sun in the Sky is a really awesome song with a really cool instrumental section from a really, really cool album with a lot of really cool instrumental sections. Like, it's a pretty sick album. Poison Season, I love it. I don't think I'll ever get tired of listening to Poison Season. Like, I don't listen to it enough. Honestly, I regret all the hours I waste not listening to Poison Season. I love it that much. It's my favorite Destroyer album from all I've heard. I haven't even heard all of his albums. But, dude, check it out, man. The Sun is Setting. Just check out the album, actually. Don't even check out the individual song. It's better in the context of the album. Just listen to the album. My number 10 is Uncomfortable by Andy Mineo. Uncomfortable is one of my favorite Andy Mineo songs. I think it's really great. I think it's really cool. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that outro hits harder than anything. Maybe not harder than anything, as hard as anything. It's just easily one of the best songs he's ever made, from a music, from a lyrical perspective, from a performance perspective. It's a really great title track and a really great opener. I need to make that best title tracks video. That's got to be my next video. Best title tracks, or maybe not my next video, but I'm gonna do that in the future. I'm making a mental note right now. My number 9 is I Went to the Store One Day by Father John Misty. I question my placement of this song at number 9. I don't know if it's really that much better than I Love You Honey Bear, but I do know this is one of my favorite closing tracks of all time. And it's so good in the context of the album because it's such a stripped back song, and the album is kind of ornate and beautiful and sometimes very loud and sometimes kind of experimental, like on True Affection. But this song is just Father John Misty going to the store and telling a story. And I love it when Father John Misty tells stories because he's a great storyteller. Yeah, great song. My number 8 is March 10th and a 3rd by Jay Gibbons. So let me grab my hat. Conveniently, it's on the floor right next to me because we're talking about Jay Gibbons. Jay Gibbons, previous Humble Beast rapper, in my opinion, probably the best Humble Beast rapper, which is sad because he's not on the label anymore. I mean, his potential is like infinite. And, he's done good things after leaving Humble Beast. I think that album was really good. Domino, one of my favorite albums of 2019. I contributed to it on Patreon. Like, I helped fund that album. Like, I love it. But Humble Beast, they gave him the tools, the Beautiful Eulogy guys, and one of them, I believe it's Brielle is his name. Braille, I don't know. He helped with this song, and he did a really good job because it's a really good song that hits really hard, really great lyrical content. It's a great song. The Best Room by Modest Mouse. I create a rule when I do these videos. You might be able to tell. I don't do any more than 2 songs per album, but that just made it so hard with this album, with Strangers to Ourselves, because I love so many of the songs equally, I feel like. But The Best Room is a really cool song. And it's one that Modest Mouse fans, some Modest Mouse fans were like, hey, this is a really underrated song. We really like this song, even though we don't really like Strangers to Ourselves. The fans and the critics didn't really like this album. But there's people who are like, yeah, this song is great. It has that Modest Mouse energy. It really does have the Modest Mouse quirky, weird lyricism. It is a really weird structure. It's just a weird song. I mean, the fleet of lawn mowers living upstairs, like, it's kind of weird, but it's a great song. Number 6 is 10 to get, and I don't have symbols for the other words in that song title. The Hat's Back On, because this is also a Jay Gibbons track. It's from Fly Exam, and this is another thing. It's kind of like the Father John Misty situation. Do I really think 10 to Get In is better than March 10th and a Third? Not really. It's just, when I put this list together, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling this song a little bit more than I'm feeling March 10th and a Third right now. The song is a vibe. The lyricism is fantastic. The music is fantastic. The Odd Thomas feature is great. It's just a really fantastic rap song. You got to check it out. Number 5 is one of the most heartbreaking songs of all time. One of the most sad, devastating songs of all time. And that's 4th of July by Sufjan Stevens. I feel like I've said enough, honestly. We're all gonna die. 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 Yeah. My number 4 is Rainbow Signs by Me Without You. God gave Noah the rainbow sign. Yep. I talk about this song. I believe I talk about this song in my 10 must-hear songs from the 2010s. And I would stand by that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. One of the best closing tracks of all time. Did I include that in that video? My best closing tracks? I'll link that in the description as well. I say all this. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to link. I never link as much as I say I will, but I'll link everything I can that's related to this top 20, I guess, that I can think of, that I've done. But Rainbow Signs, check it out. It's a crazy song. My number 3 is How Much a Dollar Cost by Kendrick Lamar. Picking 2 songs from To Pimp a Butterfly is almost impossible. I mean, there's so many songs that could have been in this spot. Like, I was really debating between like this and The Blacker the Berry, but there's also like Wesley's Theory and King Kunta and like a lot of other songs from the album that could have been in this spot, but I ultimately went with How Much a Dollar Cost. It's a really beautiful, very, very profound song. That's what I'm going to say about it. It's a really meaningful song that hits really, really hard. Yeah, just check it out for yourself and form your own opinion. My number 2 is Goner by 21 Pilots. Goner, spoiler alert for my 21 Pilots video, is my favorite 21 Pilots song. And I really didn't want it to be any lower than number 2 on this list for that reason, because I love 21 Pilots. I love this song. I'm not a huge fan of Blurryface generally, but this is the last song on there, and it hits pretty hard. I know this one is in my best closing tracks of all time. Or 5 amazing closing tracks, whatever I titled that video. But it deserves to be, because it hits. It's a hard-hitting song that I'll let you listen to it and get your own interpretation out of it. My number 1, my favorite song of 2015 is All Right by Kendrick Lamar. All Right at this point really needs no introduction. It's kind of like one of the most legendary songs of all time already. Like, Pitchfork gave it the song of the decade, which I think is appropriate. It's probably my song of the decade. If I had to pick one. It's everything great about Kendrick Lamar and a little bit more. It's one of the most personally meaningful songs to me. I don't feel like I have to explain why. Like, I just feel like that would kind of diminish it to explain why. Like, you can get something. You'll get something out of this song if you listen to it. but it's a really beautiful song, especially in the context of the album. It's really good in the context of the album. It's really good as a standalone song. It's very hopeful, and it's very powerful, and it's also a lot of fun. All Right by Kendrick Lamar. It's a good song. Yeah, that's the best songs of 2015. And looking back on this, 2015, man, it was one of the best of the last decade. 2015 probably was the best year for music, or it's between 2015 and 2017. I flip flop on those two. 2017 had my album of the decade, which was pure comedy, but 2015 had the Modest Mouse album that I love. It had Fly Exam. It had this Kendrick Lamar album. It had I Love You, Honey Bear. It had Pale Horses, which is one of my favorite albums of all time now. It had a lot of good music. Yeah, thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.